Coming into the 2019 season, one thing seemed like it would be certain. Tua Tagovailoa would be the number 1 pick in the 2020 NFL Draft. After a hip injury ended his season in November, his number 1 status was in doubt, as well as his future at Alabama. On Monday, Tua announced that he would forego his senior season and enter the 2020 NFL Draft. And before he made his decision, many people were skeptical on what would be the right move for him: declare and potentially slip in the upcoming draft, or return to Alabama for one more season, hopefully remain healthy, and likely increase his draft stock for 2021. Well, Tua is officially going to be in the upcoming NFL Draft, and I 100% think that he made the right decision. Now, he isn't going to be the number 1 pick that everyone projected he would be, but I still think there's a good chance that he can be drafted in the top 10, maybe even the top 5. Aside from Joe Burrow, it's a pretty weak quarterback class, and it's tough to see a team drafting someone like Jordan Love, Jake Fromm, Jacob Eason over a guy like Tua. Now, overall, when healthy, I do think Tua is the better quarterback than Joe Burrow is, but with the injury, Burrow does have the number 1 edge, but I would still rank Tua as the second best quarterback in this upcoming class. Now, it seems like the Dolphins and Chargers picking in the top 6 in this upcoming draft. I wouldn't be completely shocked to see Tua fall there at either 5 or 6. You also have the Lions that are picking in the top 6, and that pick can be very juicy for a team to trade up into. He doesn't need to be rushed back at all, so if need be, he can rest in 2020 and be fully ready to go in 2021. Now, of course, this all can depend on what injury news comes down the next few months and how healthy he's projected to be moving forward. Tua met with doctors last week, so based on his decision today, I think he was given encouraging news that makes him think that he could be ready to go when the season begins. Though his prognosis was deemed to be excellent, recovery from this injury can take some time. Now, there was hope that Tua would be able to resume athletic activity in 3 months and begin throwing the football in spring practice with a chance to play in 2020, whether or not that was in the NFL or in college. I'm optimistic that I'll be able to play this upcoming season, Tua said, but I think for me, right now, I'm more worried about getting better as soon as possible, seeing what I can do. It's all dependent on what the doctors have to say to the teams and what the results come back as. Now, there's no question that Tua has been one of the more remarkable quarterbacks we've seen in college over the last decade. We all remember when he burst onto the college football scene in the 2018 national title game when he replaced Jalen Hurts at halftime and pretty much led the Crimson Tide back from the dead and gave him the national championship over Georgia. Now, he followed up that great performance by throwing for just under 4,000 yards, 43 touchdowns, and only 6 interceptions last year. He led the Tide to an SEC title and a berth in the 2019 College Football National Championship. In just 2 seasons as the starting quarterback for Alabama, Tua broke a number of records. His 87 touchdown passes are the most in team history, along with his career completion percentage of 69.3%. He threw 43 touchdown passes in 2018 and 33 in 2019 despite the injury, both are which the 2 most by any quarterback in Alabama history. His 7,500 passing yards are 3rd in the program as well. Again, he did this in only 2 years as a starter. I mean, technically like 1 and 3/4 years as a starter since he missed the last 3 games of the 2019 season. Tua also set the national single-season passing efficiency record at 199.45 as a sophomore last year. He also has the highest career touchdown percentage after throwing a touchdown every 12.5 passes. One final record he owns: he leaves college football with a record for yards per attempt at just under 11 yards per attempt. So yeah, it's needless to say that he shined during his 2 years at Alabama. Now, there's no question that when healthy, he's arguably the best quarterback in the country. The only risk, and mind you, it's a pretty big risk, is his injury history. On top of the hip surgery he got in November, he's also had surgery on both ankles, he broke an index finger last year that required surgery, and he suffered separate knee and quad injuries as well. Now, as to whether or not he'll be physically fit enough to participate in a pro day, Tua said that he would leave that up to the advice of the doctors, citing a recheck of his hip surgery around the 3-month mark. I don't think any of the doctors can tell the foreseeable future, he said. None of the guys rehabbing me can tell that. From what they've seen in New York, everything looks good, but you can't really tell until the 3-month mark or the 4-month mark. That's the gauge. He then went on to add, "It's a unique situation. With my hip, a lot of the guys and general managers and owners that I've gotten to talk to have said the same thing. They kind of look at this injury as a knee injury almost, even though it's not. In a way that, are we going to take a chance on this guy, or would he be able to possibly do a pro day before the draft? The biggest thing they want to see is that we can move and be back to how we were playing prior to the injury." Now again, if Tua is able to play and he can be healthy, there's no question he's worthy of being a top 5 pick in the upcoming draft. However, those injuries can scare teams away, and it wouldn't surprise me to see him fall in the draft, especially when we learn in the coming months how his health is. Now, it would have been great to see Tua return to Bama for one final season. It would have been great to see him try to get that Heisman Trophy, to see him win another national championship, but I can't fault a guy for wanting to go out, get his money. So if you think you're going to be a top 10 pick, there's no question you got to leave. There's no reason to risk injury next season, and I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be the number 1 quarterback in next year's draft, so he's still likely going to be the number 2 guy anyway, so I don't think his draft stock really is going to change in 2020 or 2021. So what do you think of Tua's decision? Do you think he made a smart choice by declaring, or do you think he could have used one more season at Alabama to get healthy and maybe improve his draft stock just a little? Leave a comment below and let me know. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. If you'd like to see more of these videos in the future, leave a comment as to what you'd like to hear me discuss, and we can get more of those videos in the near future. Thank you to everyone for tuning in, and I'll talk to you guys very soon.